Hey guys, it's Will. So we called Redwire stock around $4 or $5 a share back in these levels, back here around September or August 2024. And since then, we saw it surge to $26 multiple times, and it's now pulled back. It's not bullish, it's not bearish. Really, it's just paying attention to it now as we see it consolidate from left to right. So we're going to go do a quick analysis here on Redwire, and then I got to run because we're here in Buenos Aires for the second night here, and we're going to be going out with family tonight to go have some food. So you can always say hi to Tammy as well. Tammy's right here. Hello, hello. Tammy and I found out that we're expecting a little baby. What gender?
It's a daughter.
A daughter. Again, one of the top companies that we started covering back here about $4 a share. It's been a great investment for us. We ended up selling a large portion of our shares back in June. We made a video on that. After the big surge with the SpaceX IPO, we saw everything rally ahead of the IPO. And during that time, most Redwire holders were very happy. We saw a run up there of about 382% before seeing it start to sell down. We've been slightly less active on covering it. We've covered it probably about a cadence of once a week since we've seen it start to sell down because the sentiment hasn't really changed. It's been the SpaceX IPO post hype expected sell off that was going to be hitting basically all of the space tech markets. And during that time, while it's sold off here, it's been very consistent. And we start to see a little bit of a slow up over the last few days, but for the most part, it's sold off consistently. So in that medium term after the SpaceX IPO, it's been gloomy, especially if you were buying in around SpaceX. It seems like that's when there was a lot of attention on these stocks. So not too surprising that institutions saw it run up and now they're selling off heavily. But if you just look at kind of the gradual, with the exception of maybe that big sell-off in November 2025, it's been this kind of considerable uptrend. Now it's very volatile, but it's been considerably uptrending from $2 a share to now stabilizing, or not stabilizing, but holding at this previous support level around $7-8 a share currently. Now the RSI is oversold, the MACD is oversold, and there's three things we look at when we get into the analysis. The first is going to be the market. So before even touching fully on these technicals, just taking a look at the market. The space tech market has seen tremendous growth over the last few years. So we've seen SpaceX go from $250 billion valuation to $1.7 trillion, but that's also with pairing in XAI. So their actual space operations are much smaller than before they merged the two together. But you see that companies like Rocket Lab have gone up tremendously to under $1 billion a share when we started covering them to now, 40 billion or $50 billion in market cap. And so now that we're starting to see, and I said per share, but $3 a share to, $180 a share or what have you. $150. And so while we're looking at these movements, regional growth, it's not just the US, but companies like Japan, or countries like Japan, South Korea, Australia, and definitely China are expanding into the space tech markets. The commercial contracts are big, but really, this is where Redwire has seen the most growth from a financial perspective, is actually not in the commercial, not in the private sector of more exploration, but actually primarily in the defense sector. So if you were to look at Redwire's main drivers, they're going to be similar to kind of like you could say Lockheed Martin, where a lot of their contracts are defense contracts, or AMTM, Amentum, or some of these, Northrop Grumman companies, where they're seeing NASA contracts, but they're also seeing a lot of deals related to the government. Now, I was there when they signed this deal. It was a $2.6 billion deal, their biggest deal, that they were one of 13 or 14 prime contractors in that. But shortly after that, it didn't stop. They started to expand into defense contracts. So not just NASA, but primarily into defense technologies. So if you ever wanted to think about, imagine another company launches missiles against us. They have some missile defense technology that they've been deploying for space tech. And as a result, they signed and became a part of a $151 billion deal with the US government's, I think it was part of the Space Dome space contract deals. They've had a lot of these smaller deals with drone tech or UAV tech, but mostly where their biggest deals have come from are with NASA. There was that 2.6 billion, and then there was 151 billion, and then they have a bunch of smaller kind of UAV or aviation contracts that have been coming in for like 15 million here, 20 million here, not anything insane, but still notable. There's a $20 million deal there. And it's just kind of this year in 2026. But they're also working with the NASA Artemis mission, and they recently started a new manufacturing plant over in New Mexico. I think it's Los Alamos, or I don't think it's in Los Alamos, but that's where they do testing. But they have their manufacturing plant somewhere over there in Albuquerque or something like that. I was born in Albuquerque, so I was interested to learn that. And I've also met this company in person. I met not only them, but I wanted to talk with their partners. So I would actually, at one of the conferences that I went to, I was talking with Air Force Research Laboratory. They're one of the top contractors for Redwire. And I was talking with US Army as well. And a lot of them said they liked working with Redwire and that there was a lot of value that they were seeing. And one of the biggest use cases I saw was that they were taking old tech and renewing it. So, for example, failed missions that launched up into space for LiDAR technology. This is kind of the news, right? Market's growing fast. We know a lot of the companies in space tech are growing. It's probably one of the top markets over the next 5-10 years, even 15-30 years. But just down into the news once again, the deals are coming in consistently. Every month they're coming out with new deals. And then in my experience talking with them, they're renewing technology and converting. It was the LiDAR to really great high sensor cameras, because those cameras could actually read what's going on in space, whereas LiDAR that uses the bouncing back effect just doesn't work in space because there's so many moving objects, and the readings, the data was bad with LiDAR. So the US government pivoted. So what does it look like for their financials? This is where they start to grow the most, in my eyes, is why we started covering them at those $4 and $5 ranges. I'm going to pull up Prophecy app here. This is an app that we built. My team and I work tirelessly to make sure that you have the best models in the world paired with the best data in the world. And if you want to get your hands on it, it's got projections and all the analysis I normally go through, so that you can just see projections or just see the nearest support levels or just see the financials with the equity broken down right in front of you, or see the institutional buying very simply, company news all in one place. You can even hover over and get quick breakdowns that are already analyzed in pros and cons of different articles, whether it's company news, general news, or even direct any company's press releases. You can look at and get the full analysis. Might even take a second. It's got to basically go through all the attachments on the page. In this case, it was going through looking at their net profit, looking at their year-over-year losses, and all that stuff. You can get analyzed automatically. So if you want to get this, again, you can always give it a shot in the Prophecy link. It's the third link in the description below. But taking a look at Redwire's look, actually, before we actually get into these financials here, let's take a look at the technicals. So a couple things to note. Number one, if we look at the multi-model view, we'll get some projections going. But the nearest support level is at $8.50, and that's for the 3-month. Let's get into the next week. These projections are oftentimes going to be more accurate than the next 3 months. Still looking at the nearest support level at the next $8.50 range. If you get into tomorrow or into the live kind of look into the next week, most of the strongest support levels seem to be holding around that $8.50 range, with a good amount of projections fairly bearish here into the next day. So why is that? Well, there's a few reasons why. We'll get into the projections there, are kind of projecting negative, whereas what most investors might be surprised by is some of the reversals that could happen very quickly. So while it looks negative right now in the outlook, I wouldn't disagree, and we'll kind of get into that here. Part of the reason would be this, the nearest resistance at 868. So if we go back to the technicals here, let's get in there. Once again, we went over the financials a little bit, but really we'll touch there in a second. The news has been amazing. They've been growing as a result, but with this recent sell-off, this isn't just them. This is every single space tech company. So as you can tell, while they've had that kind of uptrend over the last few years, in a way, this recent sell-off where they popped up to $28 and sold down here has been very consistent. You know, you get these lower lows and very, very clear lower lows and lower highs. And so that's always not the most exciting thing to see if you're looking at medium term stuff. As a long-term investor, these are great opportunities potentially. But if you're a short-term trader, you want to make money quick, or you're looking for a small move, this one is a little dangerous right now. And I'll show you why. Because as we've seen the trend go down, it's been very consistent in its downtrend. There's a few ways to look at this. Number one, we could say, hey, this is actually already breaking out of trend. Today was a good day. We see it slowing down, and we see it starting to get out of the trend, and this is it. And it's starting to break out right now of this downtrend. But really, the more conservative approach would say, look at the 200-day moving average, this green line. This line is going to be the level at which it's oftentimes going to act as a resistance for them, that green line there. And so while they've sold down and they're selling down and then they've started to recover and that might look great, there's still that chance that you get that rejection down at $8 around the 200-day moving average, and then you get that sell down further into that, you know, level of $5 to $6. Now that's a very conservative, and the market's probably not going to be doing hot the rest of the market if that's the case. And that might be the case. And that's why you see the $8.50 level being a key level for them, with a secondary support at $8. So $8.50 is going to be right here. So that's going to be the $8.50 level. And we did see them kind of hover over the $8.50 level here in this this past few days. But they're starting to uptrend a little bit. You can kind of see that. So this is what we're seeing, this potential breakout, where you got that resistance they're facing at around $8.75 or $9 a share, but that they are starting to trend a little bit up. They're still in a little downtrend here, but if they start to break out above that $8.75, we had a good move today. We've seen them start to recover. Then you're starting to see this is where everything starts to change. The direction starts to change. We potentially see them continuing some of this trajectory where you get this continuation back into these levels around $12 to $15 to $20 a share. And then you start to see them up around 100% gain to 200% gain to previous highs. Now we're not there yet. As I mentioned, watch that $8.75 level. While it's sold down in the RSI and MACD, look, these are indicators that indicate that it's overbought right now, and that's not going to be or oversold right now. They're down here. You can see that it's right here down around 30, which indicates it's oversold. While that's the case, and that looks really good for a buying opportunity, the direction hasn't quite confirmed. Now, once we start to see things push back up into this $9 range, up into $9.50, then we're starting to see a very confirmed more reversal. And when Redwire runs up, it can run up extremely quickly. You see this very volatile. Institutions, when the space tech market rallies, it rallies fast. It can be within a matter of a few days, it's rallied 70% or more. And we've seen that happen time and time again, where everybody's kind of caught sleeping and disregarding a lot of space companies. Like this last time, it sold down from 26, it sold down to right around here, right around this $7 and $8 range, where it was recovering and had sold down 67%. And then after that, that's when it started to rally, and it made a rally here of 250% after the fact. And so we're really in the same position where we were back there in 2025, as we see it kind of sell down to the exact same levels, start to recover, and we're looking for a potential swing that could be notable up into those 200% gains. Now, that's really bullish. Again, long term does seem to look great for the company because of these financials. Real quick, the financials, you got equity holding at $1 billion. That's meaning they have 1.5 billion in assets. And their income. They are making $100 million per quarter. All right. So if they're doing 100 million per quarter, they are doing as much revenue right now as half of Rocket Lab, for example. Now, Rocket Lab's market cap is at 40 billion or 50 billion. I don't even know what they're at right now. Let's see where they're at. RKLB. They're at 40 billion right now. And so if you go back to Redwire, again, Redwire is doing about half the revenue, but they're not 40 billion. There's $2 billion market cap. They're very small. So keeping that in mind, the financials have been growing. You look annually, you can see them growing. The net income is a little bit negative. That's something to consider. As the last quarter, they did have that negative 78 million. But noting that their equity continues to increase, their liabilities are not increasing, and their assets continue to rise annually. See this big surge from just 200 million in assets to 1.5 billion in assets. They're starting to see a lot of growth there. So what does that mean? Well, if you pair those things together, they're at 1.5 billion in assets. They're expecting around 400 million a year in revenue, and they're in the space tech market. It's a frontier market. It's volatile, but could be priced in at premiums later on. We could potentially see that surpassing that of their current market cap, given that they already have their current market cap basically in revenues and assets combined. So Benjamin Graham is a great investor, the mentor of Warren Buffett. That's oftentimes how he calculates it. Now, does it look as sweet as it was when we were covering it at $1 billion in market cap? Not quite as sweet. But when it was at $1 billion, we were saying this thing should stabilize around $12 to $15 a share, which from here at $12 to $15, if it makes its way up to there, it's about a 40% to about 70% gain, 75% gain up to 15. And so does it look sweet still? It actually does look sweet in that regard. It's not that full 200% gain to 12 to 15 bucks a share, but it is still looking pretty favorable in those price ranges for the return, if that were to be the case that it makes that move. So just keeping in mind, this is of course just analysis for you to have a background on the company. I've been covering it for years, and this is what I've been trading for years. And I've been able to make some really great returns with this company for the past few years. And some of the biggest returns come right after these dire times where you see these sell downs. I remember extensively covering it around $5, and you could go back and find it, and even buying in and showing you guys the actual returns we had back then. So these types of moves where we get this potential breakout start to look potentially like opportunities that you may want to at least take advantage of if you've done your own research and things feel good in your hands. When it comes to our live trading sessions, we'll be there tomorrow morning. If you would ever like to tune on in and watch me trade live, it's the second link in the description below. We'd love to see you there. You might have to get up a little early at like 6:30 a.m. if you're in Pacific time, as I normally do. But this month, as we're in Buenos Aires, I get to sleep in kind of. We're going to be there at 10:30 a.m. Buenos Aires time, but we're still there every morning, whether we're traveling or not. And occasionally things come up, but I got over 95% attendance rate. So if you would like to ever tune on in there, watch my entries and my exits, it's going to be the second link in the description below to tune on in. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.